Hi guys, today in the workshop we have this Volkswagen Golf that's in for an issue with its fuel gauge. Nothing is showing up on the dash and there's a warning coming up. When we've plugged in our diagnostic tool, that's also told us that there's an issue with high resistance on the fuel level sensor. And I know there's a few videos online already about how to recalibrate or reset these sensors. We've tried that already and nothing's working, so the issue is actually the sensor. So let's go ahead and get that replaced. So the first thing that you want to do is remove that rear bench sheet, and how you go about doing that is that there's pull tabs in the front, so you just lift the bench sheet upwards to release them from there. And on the back, if your car has an ISOFIX setup, you have these little clips. These are what hold that ISOFIX in place, so you just push this down and release it around that tab there, and then the seat should just come straight out. So here's the new part that we've had from the main dealer, and you can see how it works. So this is the float that sits inside the tank. So as the level of the fuel rises and lowers, see it moves up and down on that gauge. This effectively changes the resistance in the circuit, sends a signal, and it allows the instrument cluster to tell you how much fuel is in your fuel tank. So it's quite a basic setup, and if there's any crud, debris, corrosion or anything on this sensor wheel, then that's going to give you false readings. Same goes for just the electrical connectors, so we'll check that as well. And if you're wondering about the part number, the fuel level sensor is fitted to the fuel pump. So we have to remove that bench sheet in order to get access. There's a little rubber bung that you have to push through. Now you can see the electrical connector on the top of the fuel pump. So this will have to be disconnected. There's a little security tab that just lifts up. So we want to check these. Everything seems nice and clean. So I'm not worried about corrosion on any of the pins. So once the electrics are out of the way, we need to disconnect this fuel pipe. So these can be really fiddly, the tabs that you need to press in. So this tool isn't really meant for this particular connector, but I think it might just fit, just to apply pressure in the right place. Yeah, this tool wasn't quite enough. We had to use this tool in the end. It was just essentially the same thing, but a little bit stronger. So all we've done now is just use that to press in and helped pry it up from the side to pull this up slightly just so it breaks that seal. So now that this should pop off, you're going to get any residual pressure that's in the system kind of come back through the pipe. So the next thing that we need to do is remove this securing ring. And there is a special tool for this, but if you don't have it, you can get away with a little punch just to move this out of the locking tabs. Yeah, so you can put a chisel in here and you want to hit it anti-clockwise so this turns to the left. We have already freed this up just for the sake of showing you, because this was a little bit awkward. So take that off. There, take that off. See if we can tuck this pipe to one side. And this should come out. I'm going to gently guide it because you don't want this floor to break. Once this is off, you can see that there's just little plastic tabs here. You can lift this up then. And out. You can see the deterioration of that sensor, so this wasn't sending that correct signal. So it's a good thing we're swapping this over. And now, you turn around the whole unit, you can see where these three wires from that sensor come through and connect to the lid just here. And it's very important where these go, so you have to match them up exactly. So you want to fish it out of these little guides. Gently work them off of the electrical pins, because we needed to fish the wiring through first. So it's red, blue, black. with the new float. That can be just popped back in. It slots into place like that. I'm going to feed these wires through, and we put them then through the plastic guides. This can be quite fiddly. So you want to feed them through the little plastic guide that's up here. Put that connector back on. This connector back on. Make sure they're all the way home. And this connector. Give them a wiggle, make sure they're all secure. And now, once you're happy, it's time to fit everything back to the car. So one thing to be aware of is this rubber seal that sits between the tank and the lid of the fuel pump. So you want to make sure that this is seated correctly, because sometimes these can swell and they don't fit as well. Which I think this one has a little bit. But you want to make sure that is seated exactly as it should be, because you don't want any leaks, because you will have issues afterwards. So now you just want to gently guide the float in first. Feed that through. And gently, you don't want to drop this in. This pump will sit, you want it exactly in the same place where it came off. And there is a little spring on the top end of that pump to make sure that this is seated in the correct place. So now that that's there, we can put this securing ring back on. So you'll be able to see the marks on the securing ring of where and how tight it was previously, just to give you somewhere to match it up with. Punch. So we'll give this a little bit of a clean up. So refit this fuel pipe. Make sure that clicks in, it's all the way home. When you're happy that this has had a little clean up, put the connector back on. Push down the securing tab. So now we can refit this plastic cover. It should just press down into place, and we can press back in this rubber bung for the electrical connectors. Then we can refit the rear bench seat, remembering to press firmly on the front end to make sure that those clips go in nicely, and refit the ISOFIX clips. My apologies guys, at this point my microphone had stopped working, so I have to do a voiceover, but yeah, that is how you go about replacing a fuel level sensor in a Volkswagen Golf. So I hope this helped. If it has, please drop us a like, and if you have any questions, leave us a comment and I'll do my best to get back to you. Cheers guys.